Cloud.
Amanda, after,
everybody who
stay
gets
after the meeting and you and I will chat.
Okay, so everybody who gets the message, please answer yes, record. And now I'm gonna go live on Facebook.
Yay.
And
Rita, let us know if it works.
I'm looking.
Okay.
I'm looking for it.
okay, I'm hitting it. And the description, we want it to be Queen for a day.
Do I need to refresh my page?
I'm getting there. Just give me a second.
Give you another minute. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. She's got to put the name in and then she's got to hit record and do a couple of things.
Yeah. Okay.
And public. And go live. Now let's see if it goes to me or UMBS.
Says,
Well, I got another recording thing up here. The meeting is being live streamed. Okay. But I didn't get anything on Facebook yet.
hi, folks.
Okay, so
Mine says meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. I got a notice.
Let me refresh my page and see if it comes up. Should, I would think.
So is it streaming on Facebook on UMBS?
I am looking.
Pardon me?
I'm looking.
Okay. Let's see. No, that's just a picture. Oh, Facebook just
My
defeated.
screen
Okay.
says this meeting is
Oh,
being
wait.
recorded and live streamed. That's all I can tell you.
Okay, here we go. Upper Midwest Beat Society's Zoom. Let's be live.
Oh, got it.
Nope. That's the last one.
Mine said it's streaming on Facebook.
Right.
I actually got both notices.
Well, but
Okay.
I don't see it.
I don't see
No,
it
we're
either.
Maggie, we're on your page.
Okay, so that was what I was afraid of, because when I
Right.
go to stream live, it says I have to go back to my page.
Right.
So let's see what this says. If I set up live video.
So Maggie, I think you're gonna want to stop the live streaming
Okay.
and let's try that again, okay?
All righty, let's go here and live stream stop. Okay, so what happens, you told me to go to the UMBS page, and that's where I was on Facebook. But
Right.
when I live stream to Facebook from Zoom here, it says I have to go to Maggie Thompson.
All right, okay. Well,
So
that's
I don't know what to do. It won't, I have no.
okay. So why don't you then go as Maggie?
Oh,
So let's try it again.
okay.
Okay.
So we'll live stream, whoops. Live stream to Facebook.
Right.
Okay, and it says it says you need to switch to Maggie Thompson to continue.
Okay.
So is that what you want me to do?
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay, because that's where we were before.
Right. So let's try to switch to Maggie.
Okay, let's see what we got here.
And then it's gonna ask you, I think, to name the meeting again.
Yeah, enter a description.
Okay.
Queen for a day. Let's be live, and it says share on your own timeline or share to your page.
Okay, go to share to page.
Okay. Oh, and select a page. Got it. That's what I did wrong before. All right.
All right, let's see if that
So
works.
sorry. So
No,
sorry,
it's okay.
folks.
Let's see if that works.
Yep, meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. And I'm still got my little streaming bar. Okay,
See if it works.
and we should go to Upper Midwest. And there it is.
Yes, it's live.
Yay, we did it.
Okay, yay.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, we're ready to
Yes.
roll.
I did it right. My
I
first
love it.
ever.
Hi, guys.
Okay,
everybody.
so I do not hear a second set of people talking.
Oh, that's
And
super. That's super.
well, but I don't see it live either. I don't see us on Facebook.
Well,
We're
we
on
are.
Facebook.
I
I
just
found
said,
it.
We are.
Refresh.
It's there, Rita.
yeah, just refresh your browser.
Okay, I will do it again.
Okay, so this is Saturday, August the 17th. Let's Be Live, and we're featuring Hannah Rosner with her Queen for a Day sash. Is that what I want to call it?
It's an escape, which is a shoulder sash. I'll talk
Okay.
about it in a little while. Yeah.
And this is intended, I mean, for obviously you can wear it wherever you want, but she's doing this in commemoration of our 35th anniversary. And hopefully a number of us will get these done and wear them to our anniversary celebration on the 13th of October. And that's at Midland Hills Golf Course from 11 to 3. And that's what I have to say. I'm going to turn it over to Jan Carlson, our president now.
Hi, everybody. Just a couple of announcements quickly. The fall bead retreat is coming up in 2 weeks, believe it or not. It's September 4th through the 8th at Camp Wapagossett near
There
Ames,
it is.
Wisconsin. It's only a little over an hour away from the Twin Cities. You can go for one day or multiple days as you wish. The information is on the bead retreat page of our website, and you don't have to be a member to attend. The Minnesota State Fair is coming up this week. We've got people that are going to be demoing in the Creative Fine Arts or the Creative Arts Building at the Minnesota State Fair on August 28th. So if you happen to be at the fair on the 28th, check them out. I think they could actually even use some additional volunteers. So there's information on our website about who to contact. In addition, we're still planning and working on our 35th anniversary party. It's hard to believe that the Bead Society has been around for 35 years, but we have. So we have a party planned for October 13th at the Midland Hills Golf Course. Invitations to members and a few years of prior members will be going out later this week. And then in addition, the Twin City Bead Bazaar is scheduled for the 26th and 27th of October. I did get word that the Bead Society is going forward. They didn't have enough reservations for booths at one point, but now the good news is there is going to be a Twin City Bead Bazaar. And we'll be looking for volunteers for make and take at the Bead Society booth. So lots of things going on. Check out our website for more information on any of those items. And that's all I've got. So back to you, Maggie, or back to Hannah. Back to Hannah. Okay. You're muted, Maggie. So
Yep,
I'm going.
there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go back to
You're
me.
muted, Maggie. So I'm
There we go. And I'm going to go right to Hannah.
So I'm
There we go. And I'm going to go right to Hannah.
Okay, wait a minute. Someone's got Facebook up or something. Okay, wait a minute. Someone's got Facebook up or something. Okay, wait a minute. Someone's got a Facebook app or something. Okay, wait a minute, carry now. Someone's got a Facebook app or something. Okay, wait a minute, carry now. Someone's got a Facebook app or something. All right. All right. You don't have Facebook up, right? You're the only one I see.
Okay. Is that better? I just shut Facebook down.
Ah, okay. Yes, that's it.
Okie dokie, never mind.
Who was it? Ah, okay.
Well, I just guess I'll get going then. Hi guys, I'm Hannah, and I am here today to show you a piece that I made for the 30th anniversary party at for the Upper Midwest Bead Society. When Jan told me that they had chosen Queen for a Day as their theme, I decided I really wanted to make a oh, can't see it at all. There we go. They had chosen Queen for the Day as a theme. I decided I wanted to make a pattern that was just for them. It will be later released to everybody, but this one was written for the Upper Midwest Bead Society for their anniversary, 35th anniversary party. And actually, before I begin, I think I probably, Jan, do you mind if I actually turn it over to you to maybe talk about the start of the Bead Society a little bit, so that they know, and then I'll get going talking about why I chose this. Jan, would you mind that?
Sure, sure. So the Upper Midwest Bead Society started with a small group of people 35 years ago. Diane Fitzgerald was one of the founding members of the Bead Society. And through the years, for most of those years, we've met on a monthly basis. COVID sort of came along and changed all of that, and we started Zooming the meetings. That's been a big benefit to us because in Zooming, we were able to pick up people whose bead societies didn't do that during COVID. So we were able to actually pick up a lot of out-of-state members. So today, we're not meeting every month. We're meeting, kind of every other month, or as we can schedule it in. For our monthly meetings, we did do one Let's Speed Live in person last month, and we'll periodically do those as well when we have local speakers. And again, it makes more sense to have meetings when we've got local speakers. But the advantage that we have now is we can have wonderful speakers like our speaker last Monday night, who was fantastic. And that will be available on our website, the recording of that, if you didn't see it. So today, the Bead Society has around 140 members. We continue to grow, continue to try to do new things. We do the monthly meetings. We do the Let's Bead Live on Saturday afternoons every month. And we do 2 retreats, one in the spring, one in the fall. The one is coming up in 2 weeks. So we expanded that from a 4-day to a 5-day retreat because we were having too much fun and we needed another day. What else about the Bead Society? Are you ready, Hannah? Or should I talk some more?
I am here. Yeah.
The
No, I think
other
we
thing
should,
is, sorry, the other thing is our presence at the Twin City Bead Bazaar.
Yes, indeed. Indeed, at the Bead Bazaar, we have a kind of a large booth where we sell items that have been donated to the Bead Society. But in addition to that, we're doing make and takes. So definitely, check out the Twin City Bead Bazaar. Okay, Hannah.
great. All right. So every month we do a free project, and we stream it live on Facebook. So if you are watching us on Facebook, I wanted to welcome you. This month, of course, we're doing this piece that I designed directly for the Upper Midwest Bead Society. Next month, our old Sandra Ruthers is the speaker, and then she will be doing next month's live on Facebook. So we have 2 events every month. One is at least one is for the members only, and one is live on Facebook for everybody. So when Jan came to me and she told me that that she wanted to, that you guys had decided on Queen for a Day. Am I actually spotlighted, or did it not work? Can you guys tell me?
No, you're not. Do I need to do
I didn't
that
think so.
for you?
Hang on, let me try to go ahead.
There you
No,
go.
I did it.
There we go. Sorry about that, guys. So when Jan came to me and told me that Queen for a Day was what they had selected as the theme for their party, I got my thinking cap on and I thought to myself, well, what can we do that is something that is American, because we're based in the US, and also royalty? And I immediately thought Cartier. When I was younger, my grandmother was living in New York City, and she and I went to see a Cartier exhibit at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And one of the pieces was from 1908, and it was this shoulder sash. And what you do is you wear the pin on one side, and then and it can actually cross over the chest, or it can be worn on the same side, and then so a 2-pin, 2-brooch system, one up here and one down here. And I was really taken with it. It was made of tiny pearls. You can see these. I know it looks like ball chain, but those are actually tiny pearls and gold and diamonds. And I thought, well, I'm not going to use diamonds, but what I am going to use is crystals. So my version looks like this. And this is what we're going to work on today. Let me go ahead and spotlight it. Remove spotlight. Let's see. It looks like I'm not able to spotlight. So can you guys spotlight this piece for me?
Got it.
Spotlight the piece with the purple. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much. So this is the piece that we're going to make today. And it's a 2-pin system with a little pin on the back. Whoops, sorry. Just comes off right like that. You can see it again. Just like that. And once again, it can either be worn on the same side or across the chest, with one on one side and then across the opening. This was originally made in 1909, and I saw the original at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It was owned by, I can't remember who it was owned by. So let's go take a look at my tutorial where I actually said, it looks like it was, oh, the Vanderbilts, of course. I couldn't remember the Roosevelts or the Vanderbilts. So the original was owned by the Vanderbilts, which of course is royalty US style. So in order to do it, I wanted a piece that you could either purchase a kit or go ahead and use what was in your stash. So I want to talk about the things that you need to use this, to make this, I should say. So first up, a little bit of cookie. You need some laces, stiff stuff, or any beading foundation. I'm using Ultra Suede for the back. You need 4 different sizes of seed beads. I've got size 15 here, and it doesn't matter if they're Toho or Miyuki. I'm just a Toho girl, so all of the stuff I use is Toho. So 15s, 11s, 8s, and 6s. Then you need any pretty button, and here I'm using one that I got in New York City. You can see that the one I'm using today is a little bit different than the style that I used in the original sample, but I'm using this guy today. It's got some crystals and some filigree going on, and it's all kinds of fun. Then I have a little crystal, and it's actually on a sew-on setting. And I'll talk about that in just a second. I love these crystals with the sew-on settings. If you don't have a sew-on setting, you're going to just have to glue it down and bead around it. I like both of these because I'm not going to be doing any peyote stitch today on these. I'm just going to go ahead and glue them down. This one I'll stitch through the back, and this one I'll just stitch down. And that's the reason I like those sew-on settings. If you have one that you can't quite glue down, or one that doesn't have that stitch on backing, we'll talk about two options on that today. I've got some pearls. I'm going to be using those just for a little bit of embellishment here. There it is. But also in the attachment between the two. See that? And on the fringe. Oh, I love fringe. You know that. So I've got some pearls here. I've got some little rondelles because I had some. Gonna use those in the fringe. I've got some, these are size 5, but size 5 or size 6 crystals. And what I forgot to bring out, which I'm gonna get now, is some tiny crystals. So give me a sec while I fish those. So that's what you need to make them. Oh, also some drops here. You could use Miyuki, Magatamas. You could use daggers. You could use briolets. You could use, I'm using little crystal drops because they look like diamonds. You know, you could use, I've got some, there we go. There's some smaller crystals. I've got size 5 here and size 3 there, but you could use different sizes. It doesn't matter in this project. So this project was based so that it would be a free tutorial for everybody in this group, and that you could use stuff that you had at home. All right. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to do it on 2 different pieces. If you want to do it on a single piece, is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut a little hole in this and stick this guy through it and stitch that down. And I'm going to stitch this one down on that piece. Now, if you don't have one of these settings, there's a number of different places you can get them. I don't know whether or not Lotus Beads or Bobby Beads in Minnesota carries them, but I do know that Bijou Bead in Atlanta carries settings, and let me show you those. What you want to do is get a setting that actually matches your crystal, and it tells you what size. And what you do is you just slip it in, your pistol in from the back. This one's a filigree one. You slip it in from the back, and then these are little tabs. You see that little tab right there? That's a little tab, and just using, like a toothpick or a chopstick or pliers, you just squeeze that tab in, and there's about 4 of them or 5 of them. And you just squeeze it in, and it'll hold that little thing in place without having any glue. And then you can turn it over, and you can just stitch it down through any of these holes. You want to stitch it down real securely. So here I've gone ahead and I've stitched these 2 down, and I'm going to do that in real life now. So I'm going to put a little hole in the middle of my
Just so people know, I know that Storm Cloud does have some settings. I don't know. I know they have Rivoli settings, but I believe they have other ones too. If people are looking for something local, they might.
There you go. tell me about storm cloud. I've never heard of this one before, because I'm from, I'm in
Right.
Oregon right now, but
It's
tell me about
on Snelling.
I thought they closed.
She's working on it. She wants to retire, but they are still open.
Okay.
Great. I like Fireline for this project. Mostly because the crystals will go ahead and they'll cut any other kind of thread. So I'm going to be using Fireline today. I'm going to be using 6 pound because it's what I grabbed first. I don't tend to use 4 or 10, but I tend to use 6 and 8 pretty much indiscriminately. I just use whichever I grab first. Let's see if I can go ahead and thread a needle today. There we go. If you would like to go ahead and glue this one down a little bit just to hold it in place, you can. I'm actually going to do that, but I'm going to do a big no-no. I'm going to use some crazy glue because I don't know where my E6000 is. I would recommend E6000 instead. There it is. So I'm just going to put a little bit. I've got a hole in there. You can see that so that it goes through. I'm just going to put a little bit of just to hold it in place. Oh. Now I'm going to just stitch that in real well. If I get sidetracked and get off screen, please remind me to get back on screen. I've noticed I do that, and I apologize in advance. If you're using a check bead, or I should say a check button, if you want to set it in peyote stitch and know how, you can. But you don't have to. As long as it's glued down and stitched down. Stitch that down real well. Now, if you'd like, you can go ahead and come up here on these buttons. This one I selected because it actually has little holes in it. And I've actually come up in here and this one had holes too, and I went ahead and added some size 8s and some size 15s, and just that helps stitch it down. Can you see them? There's one there and one there and one there, and I think I'll do the same thing here. I think I'll just add some, maybe a little loop. I think I'll add a little loop of beads here just to help stitch it down. So what I'm doing is depending on the needs of my button, I'm just making sure that I'm going to go ahead and be able to keep it on there real well. So every button is going to be different. And you just go ahead and ask it what it wants, ask it what it needs. You don't have to, you could just leave it as is if you wanted to. But I'm under the impression when it comes to things like Cartier and the Vanderbilts and Art Deco and Art Nouveau stuff that no matter how much is there, it's still not enough. So I've just added a little bit of beads there. Put some there. Oh. I'm not crazy about that. Maybe I won't. I'll change my mind about that. I'm just gonna leave it alone. So because this is glued down and it's actually gone ahead and stitched, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to set this in peyote stitch. I'm just gonna go ahead and set some beadwork around the outside. So if you take a look, that's what I've done here. I've used some size 11s around the outside there. And using back stitch, which I'll show you in just a second. I'm just going to go all the way around the outside. I'm going to come up. And I do back stitch with 4 beads. Some people do it with 2. I'm going to use some size 11s. Add 4 beads. I've come up at a spot. I'm going to go down. If I call this bead number 1, 2, 3, and 4, I come up between bead number 2 and number 3. I'm going to go out bead number 3 and number 4. There it is. And now I'm going to add 4 more beads. I'm going to go down. I'm going to renumber this last set as bead number 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to come up between bead number 2 and number 3. There it is. And come out number 3 and number 4. And I'm going to do that all the way around on this one and also on this one once I go ahead and stitch this guy down. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Let me show you on the tutorial. The tutorial, by the way, if you haven't downloaded it, I'll go ahead and ask both Rita and whoever is doing the chat here to go ahead and put a link. It is uppermidwestbeadsociety.org/calendar. I believe that's right.
That is right. Yep.
So once again, I've come up, this is a different piece I'm working on here, obviously, but you've come up and you've added 4 beads. And you go down, come up between bead numbers 2 and 3, and out 3 and 4. Here it is on 2 other. So you can do this technique on any button and just continue all the way around. There it is. All right. Oh, thank you very much. All right.
You betcha. Are you laughing at me, Barb?
Why would we laugh at you?
Because I'm just was so Minnesota there.
Oh, you betcha. Yes.
Yep, you betcha.
I still say it. I have not lived in Minnesota since 1983. And I still say it.
I have a suggestion that I've found works really well for me. If you're having a hard time figuring out where to come up with your needle when you're doing bead embroidery, stick a needle or a pin down from the top, and then you'll see a hole and your needle will go exactly where you want it, you know, from the back.
Oh, you mean right here when you're coming up? That's a great idea.
If you can get it in the right place, if you're having trouble with that, stick a needle or a pin in from the top, and then you'll be able to see where your needle should go up from the back.
I love that. I love that so much. So I'm almost all the way around. And then I'm going to take a look at it and decide what this one needs. Now, if you have a button and know how to do peyote stitch and want to peyote stitch around it, then you do need to make sure that this first row is a even number. But since I'm not going to be doing peyote stitch on this, and since you may not either, you can go ahead and do an odd number. So once again, if you're going to do a peyote stitch bezel on your button, you're going to want it to be an even number. If you're not doing a bezel, then it can be an odd number. And it looks to me like this one, to really make it work, this one's going to have to be an odd number. Oh. So you can see I have maybe a little bit of, you can see I have a little bit of space right there. I'm just going to add that bead in, and then I'm going to go all the way around, and that'll help to make it nice and tight and a little bit smoother looking. So I'm just running my needle all the way around. So now it's time to decide if I want another row or if I'm good with it the way it is. With this guy, I was good with it just the way it was. So I went ahead and just put the backing on and the edging, which we'll talk about in a second. This one, I'm still not real happy with those holes in there. So I think I may, but they're all different sizes. So I may end up putting some pearls. I think I'm going to try some pearls right in those sections. And I think I'm also going to do another row around the outside. I think I'll use my size 8s. So the first thing I'm going to try is pearls and see what they look like. And kind of try to come up right in the middle here. So once again, I'm just kind of playing here. It's telling me what my particular button needs. Oh, I think I'm going to like that. Okay. I'm going to put a pearl there. This is like a little mini fridge, little mini fringe. I've got a bead and then a stop bead, which is my size 15. Let's see if I like that any better than the loops that I was trying to do. This will also help to keep it down. Here it is. Come up right in the middle here. Add a pearl. So I'm just going to add all kinds of different things. Let your button speak to you, tell you what it wants. This is going to help keep it down a little bit better because it was kind of coming up a little bit. I think this is where that technique of using a pin would actually come in really handy because I can't see where I'm coming up. Oh, I really like that. Yeah. One more. It's like a little flower. Oh, I like that so much. All right. So now that I've put that on, I'm gonna evaluate again, see if I need another row on the outside. And now that I've got those in there, I kind of like it as is. So I think I'm just gonna stop this piece right here. And I'm gonna work on the other one a little bit. So this is gonna be my main piece. Just like this. So I want to invite you to take, even if you've got the kit from me, to take it and make it into your own piece. Make your own Queen for a Day piece. Let this button speak to you and tell you what it wants and what it needs. There we go. I'm not going to take the thread off. I'm going to use that later on to go ahead and do the edging. So I'm going to go ahead and cut another piece of thread, fire line. Don't use your good scissors for the fire line. For this one, once again, I'm just going to come up because it's got a sew on setting. don't know if you can see these. Can you see? You see those little holes in there? We in focus there. Little holes. Yes, you see it right there? So I'm just going to use those to just go ahead and stitch it down nice and securely. Because we're going to be beading around it, it doesn't have to be really neat, but you don't want that stitch to come over the top. Stitches should be nice and secure. Do quite a few of them. And once again, I'm going to go around this with the size 11s, which I already have out here, using the back stitch. I'm going to start at the point, the top. Once again, because on this one, I'm not going to be using peyote stitch to set it. It's already nice and securely put down on there. I don't have to go ahead and make sure it's even number. If you have trouble figuring out where you should go down, go ahead and put all 4 beads on, lay them down like that, and then just stitch right in front of that last bead. That'll show where it's supposed to go. I've added 4 beads. This is bead number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. I'm going to come up between number 2 and number 3. Come out number 3 and number 4. The same thing that I did earlier. Added 4 beads, numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Come up between bead number 2 and number 3, and out bead number 3 and number 4. Now this one seemed a little bit small for me once I'd finished going around it. So this one we will add extra rows, I think. Once again, if you're not doing peyote stitch around the whole thing to set that bezel in place, it can be an odd number. If you want it to have peyote stitch bezel, then you want it to be an even number. Marlene, your kit is in the mail. However, I was out of these little settings. This is the pin back that we'll need a little bit later on. And those will be, those actually are supposed to come in the mail today. They should be here already. And as soon as they get here, I probably will find the set that I had set aside that I can't find right now. But as soon as they come in the mail, I will go ahead and ship them out, so you'll get a second package. Hope
Okay.
that's all right.
I think tracking says the first package will be here Wednesday.
Oh, wow, that's taking a long time.
Where do you
But-
get the pidbacks? Haha.
Haha. I got them from Beadsmith.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Thank you.
Sure. I bet Bobby Bead has them. I bet Lotus has them. I bet they can order them from you I'm sorry, not from you, for you.
For you, yeah.
So this one, I decided on some other rows, and we'll talk about that. Now I'm gonna add, I think, a row of size, oh, it looks like this one I actually had started with 15s. This time I started with 11s. But I'm gonna do another row of, I think, size 8s, and then a row of size 15s, just to make this a little bit bigger. Right now, they're just really different in size. You want this one to be bigger, but not that much bigger. So you want your main piece to be larger than your shoulder piece, but not humongously. You can see that those are slightly smaller, the shoulder piece. So I'm gonna go ahead, pull this up here. I'm gonna use a row. I'm gonna do a row of size 8s and then a row of size 15s. I don't like the outer row to be 8s or 6s. Well, I find that when I cut it, which I'll be doing later on, if it's 8s or 6s, then it has a tendency to move around a lot. So I do like the outer row to be either 11s or 15s. It's just something that I learned as I was working. So this outer row is not going to be my final row. So I'm going to do a row, I think, of size 8s here. And then a row of size 15s. This one had a size 15s and then 11s and then size 8s, which I then went and embellished. I'll embellish these too, so you can see how I did it. Once again, when it comes to Cartier, I still think that excess is really not enough. And this was designed off of a Cartier piece. My favorite part of the Cartier exhibit was actually not the pieces themselves, strangely enough, but my favorite part was actually the drawings, the designs that they did. They had them all their original designs, which they did in color pencil and pen and ink and charcoal, white charcoal, on what's called onion skin, which is a very thin, it's like tracing paper, but it is like a yellow color. And that was interesting because it gave the whole thing kind of a gold cast anyway. And then they would come in with the white highlights for the diamonds. And it really made the diamonds, the diamonds that they did in white charcoal, and the rubies and the pearls that they did in color pencil. It really made them stand out. I really liked it. The interesting thing, though, is that at the end there was this was astounding to me. At the end, there was a book where you could write your thoughts, you know, like a guest book. And so many people had written that the Cartier, it was just a show of wealth and it wasn't actually art. And that just was sort of astounding to me because I think it's art. I think this jewelry work that Cartier did was quite something. So. Sean is listening to something in the background. Can you guys tell me whether or not you can hear it? No?
I
Okay.
don't hear it.
Okay,
Hannah.
good. Just wanted to make sure. All right,
And I
so I've
think,
got my
look,
second row. This is size. I've done size 8s here, and now I'm gonna do one more row, I think, in size 15s, and then I'll do a little bit of embellishment because I can. Once again, I don't like this is gonna be my final row on this one. I don't like the
Something else-
outer row to be 6s or 8s. I find that they move around too much.
Something
If
else,
you wanted it to be 6s or 8s, give me just a second, I'll answer whatever question that is. If you want it to be 6s or 8s, I would add 2 beads instead of 4, so that each one is stitched down a little more securely. There was a question?
okay, it's not a question. It's something else that I've learned through my bead embroidery. Especially with the 6s and 8s, you know, you said go around it once. Really, a lot of times I go around twice because the more you fill the hole, the straighter your beads will lay.
Oh, yes. Nice. So once again, when I designed this, what I sort of had in mind was that you could use whatever you had from your stock. To make this, to be a queen for a day using your own bead store. That said, I still do have 2 kits available. If you decide that you want a second one or want to buy one, put that link up as soon as I finish this row, just so you can see it. And then I'll ask someone to nab it if you would, and put it into the chat. Or actually, I'll be able to do that because mine will be live. So. But once this kit is out, and it is done because this one is only originally and pretty much exclusively for now for the Upper Midwest Bead Society. I am running out of thread here, so. Adding thread in bead embroidery is so easy when you go with bead adding thread in when you add thread in peyote stitch, you have to go back through and back through. With bead embroidery, what you do is go to the back and take a couple of little stitches and call it a day. I love that. Doesn't matter how the back of your piece looks, because we're going to be covering it with ultra suede. Holy cow.
Anna, I just put your Etsy shop up on the chat. There's a link to
Oh, thank you.
AnnaRosnerDesigns.etsy.com.
Oh, much appreciated.
No problem.
So any questions so far while I finish this guy up? I can field questions at this point. off screen. You guys got to tell me when I go off screen. I don't want to lose you guys. You'd think after this long I'd be used to it, but I'm still not used to where the screen is and with Zoom. It's been years, right? I rounded this out a little more than I should have, but hey, that's okay. I'm liking that. Makes me happy. I'm just gonna go to the back. I'm gonna go around this one more time. Then I'm gonna go to the back. Make a couple little baby stitches and call this thread a day. Not quite done with the front yet, but I'm done building it outward with back stitch. I'm gonna do a little bit of embellishment, I think. Back, baby stitches, tie on a new thread. There we go. Let me show you this toy that I have for my fire line. I really love it. Friend Joanne gave it to me. This thing is fun. This is a bead zapper, basically, a thread zapper. Let's see if I can get it so that it's, there we go. I don't know what that is. ETCOKEI. My friend Joanne got it for me on Amazon. It actually is rechargeable. There's the little recharging. And it just plugs into my computer or into an outlet and it recharges, which is great because I go through batteries like crazy on my bead zapper. And it lasts for quite a while. It actually lasts longer. The charges last a little bit longer than my regular thread zapper. So anyway, this is a great toy. I just love it. So there's that. Loving that. I'm going to add a little bit of embellishment to the top. I also have embellishment around the side here. I'll talk about that in a second. But this one, I think I'm just going to embellish the top. I'm going to embellish it the same way I embellished this. So there's going to be a parallel between the two of them. They will have the same kind of look to them.
Symmetry.
That's right. They're going to relate to one another. So right at the top here, just gonna come up. Just make a little baby stitch there, just in case. I'm gonna add a purl. Purl. You could do this on the bottom instead if you wanted to. Whatever you want to do. I like odd numbers for embellishments. I'm adding 3 here. Just gotta make sure it's nice and tight. All right. Here's my 2 pieces. With this one, in addition to doing the 3 at the top, I also used size 8s and did the same thing all the way around. I did that because I had done that right here to go ahead and, do I have a buzz going on? No? Okay. I had the same thing here with the size 8s with the bead on the top. So I was trying to mirror them, but I'm not going to do that on this one. I'm just going to move on. This one's a chunkier kind of piece, so I don't want as much filigree detail. So this one's going to be chunkier too. All right. Let me show you the tutorial real quick. We'll talk about what's in there. So we've worked all the way around, and then I added some little bit of embellishment. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the back. I'm going to cut it out and work on the back a little bit. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to cut it out, and because my button has a little bit of a bump on it, I'm going to just add an extra piece there. And that may be 1 piece, it might be 2 pieces. This is just to keep everything sort of nice and flat on the back so that I can go ahead and glue down my stick pin. So let me show you what I mean there. So I'll go ahead and glue that stick pin down. And then I'm going to glue the ultra suede and work on edging stitches. There's 2 different edging stitches that you can use. There's the regular brick stitch, and then there's a picot. So,
I have a question, Hannah.
mhm.
Okay, my button has a very thick back.
Uh-huh.
I cut that in order to be able to put
You're talking about the shank is pretty
Yep.
big like this?
yep.
Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna cut it. I'm actually gonna add 2 layers of the lacy stiff stuff. You may even want to
Okay.
do more, and I'm gonna do that right now so you can see it. Because if I cut that, I've actually stitched it down using that, and it will get rid of those stitches, and then it's just gonna be basically the glue that's holding it in place, which I don't like.
Okay, I also stitched mine on, and that's why I didn't want to cut it, but I wondered if it was going to interfere with the pin back.
Right. Yes, as is, it will interfere with the pin back, and that's what I'm talking about right here, where I'm going to add some pieces of lacy stiff stuff. Let me share screen again real quick and show you what I mean. So what I do is I cut a piece and I put it down. And if that's not enough, I can add another piece and even 3 pieces. And you can see I've covered it up here.
Thank you.
You see what so I'm going to do that right now if you don't understand what it is I'm talking about here. Now I'm going to do something really bad. Once again, I have no idea where my E6000 is, so I'm going to use super glue. Don't do that at home, kids. So.
Why doesn't your back have all the spider webs? Whenever I embroider, I have a big mess on the back. It
Well,
looks like, yeah.
I actually do have a big old mess on the back. Let's see if I can get it close and you can see it. There it is. Can you see that? The reason you couldn't see it if it is because it was white on white. It's a pretty big disaster back there. So don't worry about it. That's the reason that we cover it up. So let's see if I can get, can you see that mess that I've got going on? A little better now? No, it's hard to see. It's white, but it is. I promise it's not neat and clean at all.
Okay.
I promise. And don't worry, because that's why we cover it. So I've got some lacy stiff stuff here. There we go. I'm going to cut a little piece and put a hole in it so that it can go over the button shank. Let's put that in the middle. Oh, bigger hole. I'm going to glue that down. Use E6000 and not super glue, please. So ignore what I'm doing here. And I can still really see it. Can you see it there? It's still sticking out. So I'm going to do that again. Once again, I don't want to cut this off because for me, that is the primary thing that's holding this button down. So I don't want to cut it because I've used it to stitch it. Oh, and that looks like that's going to work. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trim this so the second one is a little bit bigger. And the reason I'm going to do that is otherwise I'm going to end up with like a little platform. Here we are. So this will help it curve around. And instead of, I'll be able to just, instead of having sort of a ledge here, it's going to curve down And then I can have a slightly rounded back, but it's flat enough that it will attach to the edges here. And I can go ahead and put the ultra suede on without it looking weird. Sort of like having a little pillow on the back. It's flat enough that I'll be able to glue my flat enough that I'll be able to glue my backing on, but it won't look ridiculous in terms of the ultra suede with a ledge. I'm also gonna stitch it down around a little bit. Sean, are you going?
Yep. I gotta get on the road.
All right, well, you have fun. Sean is going down to San Francisco for the week. So give me Berkeley for the week. Well, Sam.
I know. I call it San Francisco too.
Okay, drive safe.
No.
All right,
Love ya.
love you. I'm just gonna stitch this down all the way around a little bit. And now you can see probably that I could go ahead and glue that backing on. What I mean by the backing is both the ultra suede and also the pin backing. So if you've got a kit from me and gotten this far, unfortunately, you're going to have to wait for the pin to get to you at this point because it was not put in with your kits. It was out and I had to order them. I'm just stitching that down a little bit. There we go. Not necessary, but it's just going to make the next step a little easier. There we are. Up. Chewy's freaking out. All right. Gonna cut this out.
You're slightly off screen, Hannah.
Oh, thank you. So cut that out. Oh, accidentally cut off my thread there. Let's go ahead. Start a new one anyway. So these pins are a two-part pin. Just come apart just like that. And I'm actually going to sandwich this in between. I think that it's sturdier than just going ahead and putting this. The other option would be to just put this on and then glue it on just like that. I could do that, but what I'm going to do, I feel is sturdier. I'm going to actually glue it right there. I'm going to put a hole in this and then put that over. Once again, you don't want to use super glue. I've just misplaced. Because I built that up, you can see that it's a nice flat surface to work on. See that? It just glues on. It wouldn't glue on, it would just be at the top of the little button shank if I hadn't gone ahead and padded it. Add a little bit more glue. Nope, I'm just doing it without saying anything. All right, put a hole in there. There it is, see it? And I'm just gonna slide that down, just like that. Yes. I'm gonna glue that down and then edge it. Put it down a little bit. Some people use double-sided sticky tape. You could do that. That's okay. Whatever works for you. Now I'm going to use brick stitch edging to do this. I'm going to use size 8s just because it goes a little faster. You could use whatever you want. You could use the 11s. I don't really tend to use 6s on the edging all that much, but I do 8s a lot just because I like how fast it goes. Once it's glued down, I'm going to go ahead and trim it now. And see how much neater that looks than just having that whole thing just glued on the back. I like that. It's also stronger. So I'm going to edge around it. You can use either brick stitch and edging, which is in your tutorial, or picot stitch if you know it and prefer it. Brick stitch edging. You start with 2 beads and go down and up. If you call this number 1 and number 2, you're going to go down along the edge and then come up into number 2 toward number 1. The biggest problem people have is that they don't come up the right direction. So you should be looking right up at the you should be looking right up at the holes of the beads. If you prefer and want to do picot stitch, you could do that instead. Up to you, whichever you like. And then you can also embellish your piece more if you'd like. I'm not going to embellish this more, and I'm just going to do regular brick stitch edging on it. So you'll see me do that now. There we go. All right, so I'm going to use my size 8s here because it goes a little bit faster and I like that. And then when I'm done with this, I'm going to stop and let everybody sort of catch up a little bit. Because I know I've been just sort of going at breakneck speed here. The problem with using, because you've heard me say it a couple of times, the problem with using super glue is that it can actually, I'm going to have trouble going through here. It can actually harden and gives you trouble getting through the ultra suede. So that's the reason that I keep on telling you that you don't want to use super glue, which I have. I know, I just couldn't find anything else right now. And you do want to use E6000. I know E6000 is kind of stinky, but it is the stuff that I prefer. I know that Heidi uses something better and different. Heidi was our speaker. Heidi Kumley was our speaker for the what month is it? August meeting. And it's a members only meeting. We have a speaker once a month for our members only meeting, and they either Zoom in or they come in to speak. I love the fact that we can Zoom from anywhere now, though. So I've added 2 beads and I've come up. I've added 1 bead on all subsequent rows, or I should say subsequent stitches. So once again, next month, Sandra Ruthers, who has taken part in, I don't even remember how many Toho challenges, maybe 4 or 5 at this point. I know she's taken some on her own. She will be speaking, and she will also be doing the Saturday Bead Live. Just going ahead and putting that on. Oh, I like that. I'm going to put that down for a second and tell you who else is coming to speak for us over the next couple of months. So Sandra is going to be speaking for us on the 9th of September. That's our members only meeting. And then on the 21st, she will be doing a Saturday Bead Live. I'm not sure what her project is yet. Then Suzanne Stephenson will be coming in on Monday the 7th. And I think that's an in-person meeting. Do you know, Jan?
Yes, that is an in-person meeting at the Carondelet Center in St. Paul again.
Right, and in order to find out about that, just go up. We always update the Rita is here, and she's the one who is our wonderful web person, and she will update the website, and it will be on that same calendar page, Upper Midwest Bead Society, umbs.org/calendar. So you'll be able to find about Suzanne. She's going to be speaking about French wired flowers, French wire beaded flowers. And she's just really, she's got a great eye. She uses, see, here's where I get in trouble with that glue that I used. So this is a do as I say, not as a do kind of thing. There we go. I got it. Where was I? Oh, she's going to be talking about French wired flowers. And in particular, she's going to be talking about some of the history of them, which I'm really excited about. She showed me a little bit of her slideshow, and she's got great pictures. She uses the materials in really interesting ways. So I like that as well. She uses some of the materials that we usually use in gold work, only she uses it differently and for these French wire flowers. So I'm excited to see her pictures, and I'm excited to see her, listen to her. And then on the 19th of October, Bree from Lotus Beads, I believe, will be here doing a felting project. And I think it's felting in beads. And she's going to be doing a little pumpkin for spooky season. Then in November, on November 4th, Edgar Lopez will be teaching, or not teaching, he will be speaking to us at our members only meeting. So if you are not a member yet, we have these great people that are lined up for us for the rest of the year. So you should totally join. It's only $35 a year. I just think it's a really great society. I'm about, I don't know, maybe what, a third of the way around here. So I'm just working my way around. I'm going to stop talking for a little while and see if you guys have any questions. No?
Hannah, is it important to use the size 8 around the edge to cover that thickness up, being that you've got those extra layers of lacy?
No, you can. I wouldn't use the size the 15s, but you'll be able to cover them with the 11s if you pull it pretty tightly.
Okay.
I wouldn't use the 15s. I just don't really like size 6s around outside, but you could totally use 6s if you wanted to. I just don't like, I think it looks sort of, it's not as delicate. So I don't like it for my own personal use. Oh, I've gotten in trouble again there with the glue. So, but yeah, the size 8s I tend to do because it just goes faster. The size, the size 11s will work though, if you pull it nice and tight.
I have a question. It looks like you can see through your beadwork and see the lacy stiff stuff.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go in and do a little bit more. I'll add a little bit more in there. If you want, you can go in. Some people will go in with a little felt tip marker, and they'll just go ahead and with a Sharpie, they'll go ahead and change that with a little marker or a little paintbrush with some paint on it. I'm just going to go in, I think, and I'll add a little bit more right in here, and then I won't be able to see it at all. I might add some embellishments, but I'm going to wait until the end to decide what I want to do there. Some people, if you know that it's got huge holes in it before you start, you could add a piece of ultra suede above the lacy stiff stuff and below the button. You could do that. That would be something you'd have to figure out in advance. But most folks just go ahead and use a little marker later on. Also, one of the reasons you're seeing it is I'm showing it to you a lot from the side. It's really not, you know, you can't really notice it from the front all that much. So I've got a little bit here that I can. I'm going to go ahead and move that up. There it is. But that's the reason that embellishment was invented, I think, was to cover mistakes, cover things that you don't like. I also have a theory that if a piece doesn't sell or you don't like it, then you add a lot of fringe. The problem with adding ultra suede to it before you get started is because unless you use like a lighter color ultra suede, it can actually darken the piece, make it less brilliant than it was originally. It's one of the reasons that that Cartier in their piece, they used an onion skin. That yellow sort of helps brighten it up. If it were a black, it would have made it, if the paper had been black, it would have made it look darker, kind of dingier. I believe Lacey's does come in a couple of different colors. Not Lacey's, there's another brand, and I can't remember. Does anybody remember? There's another brand that actually comes in other colors from what I understand. I believe Bobby Bead carries it. I don't know whether or not Lotus does. Those are bead stores for those of you who are joining in from other parts of the country. Those are both bead stores in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area. Since we're the Upper Midwest Bead Society, it's kind of where I'm focusing. I don't think I'm going to add anything in here because I can't, from the top, I can't really see the lacy stiff stuff enough to bother me. Can you see it now? If you look from the side, you can see it, but not from the front. and only if you're really focusing.
Looks good.
There's enough going on here that I don't think I need to sort of add anything more to it. Once I finish this, I'm going to show you one other thing that I have a tendency to do once I finish this though. Oh, I've got another area where the glue has gotten me in trouble. Boy, guys, don't use super glue. Said it a couple times.
If you find out the name of the other glue, would you post it, please?
The one that Heidi uses.
Yeah.
I believe that if you are a member, and go to the members only, the
archive page, Hannah.
Thank you. The archive page. Heidi talks about it for about 3/4 of the way through. She talks about it. It comes in this huge thing that looks like a caulking gun. I know I've got a strange accent from different parts of the world. C-A-U-L-K.
Yeah, I know what you were saying. This thing gets very funny to this tiny bead with a big old caulking gun.
Right. So what she does is she puts it like on a piece of cardboard, and then she uses a pin. Holy moly, it just started raining here. We needed it so badly.
Good. Glad to hear it.
I mean, not just rain, I mean downpour, just like sudden. I love it. Makes me happy. All right, I'm all the way around.
Hannah, I think I wrote down the glue. The one in the gun is epoxy DP110.
Oh, okay.
So that, and I'll put it in the chat. The other one she talked about was super thick tacky glue.
Oh, right. Yep.
And that's a light one that you could use with fabric.
Right. That's Eileen's tacky is available actually at like Joann Fabrics and stuff. Ooh, do you hear it, guys? There's thunder, there's lightning, there's rain. In a minute, my dog might come and jump in my lap and knock over my whole blue tray.
If anyone,
I'm going to take a short break and make sure the dogs aren't.
Okay. If anyone,
I'll be right back. Okay.
If anyone is getting the 2 pin backers and knows where to get them, would you spread the word? I don't have those, and I don't know particularly where to go get them.
I think she said Beadsmith, right?
Yeah.
You can order them.
The dogs are inside. We're good. I thought they were outside. It is downpouring there. Oh my goodness. Okay. So yeah, I got them from Beadsmith. I know you can get them from Fire Mountain Gems. I don't tend to go with Fire Mountain Gems, but I know you can get them from Fire Mountain Gems. I don't know. I would call Bob and Lotus and see whether or not they've got them. I know that Bijou Bead Store does not carry them. So yeah. Okay. I'm finished with this one. Here comes Bunny. She's gonna knock over everything. She's terrified of the oh, I love that. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do much more on this one. But let's say you get this far and say to yourself, boy, I sure wish I had done picot stitch instead of the brick stitch. Let me show you a trick to make this look like picot stitch without taking anything out. You ready? What I'm going to do is I'm going to do use a different size bead so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm coming out from the center of a bead where I just hook them together. I'm just gonna whip stitch all along the edge. I'm gonna put a little seed bead, and then I'm gonna go to the next loop, put a little seed bead. I'm gonna draw that for you and show you what I mean. It's so easy, and it makes it look like Pico stitch in case you get your piece done and you've decided that you wish you had done Pico stitch instead of brick stitch. Okay. Go. So here's the edge of my fabric, and I've got my brick stitch going on just like this with the loops. Let me just make sure. Oh, I'm doing it upside down. There you go. All right. So here's the edge of my fabric, and here's my beads with the bead holes going this way and the loops, right? Following me so far? So I come out here, I'm going to add a bead and just whip stitch it on. I'm sorry, I'm going to just go ahead and add a bead and just whip stitch it on, and add a bead and whip stitch it on, and add a bead and whip stitch it on. So I just go right around that little loop. So easy. So you're going to see me do it now. I don't think this really needs it, but I want to show you because it's fun. So there's a little, I'm coming up here, I'm going to add a bead, and I'm going to go just around that little loop that's between the two beads and pull it tight. I'm going to add a bead. Pull it tight, and you can see that they're just hanging out, looking a little bit like Pico stitch. Can you see it there? So if you get done and you decide that you wish you had done Pico stitch instead, you can still make it look like Pico stitch.
That is ingenious, Hannah.
There it is. I love it.
Also very pretty.
Yeah, it really is.
Very.
It comes out really nicely.
It's real lacy
So,
looking.
I'm just going to finish this all the way around now that I started it. It also goes really fast. Much faster than taking the whole thing out and starting over with Pico stitch. I do like this bead, whether or not it's Pico stitch or this version. I like this sticky outy bead at the top to be a little bit smaller. So if I have brick stitch, if I've done that edging stitch with size 11s, then I tend to do this with 15s. Here I've done it with size 8s, so I'm doing it with size 11s. So I do like this bead to be a little bit smaller. Oh my goodness, Bunny is shaking. Sad. All right, I'm going to move some stuff aside so she can sit underneath my desk here. Be all scared and sad. There you go, baby girl. Aw, I know thunderstorms are the worst. There you go, baby girl. Yeah. Can you guys hear that thunder?
No, I didn't.
That's good. That's good. As long as it's not getting in the way. There we go. All right, so I've gone around the outside on this one. I'm gonna let you guys catch up a little bit, and then I'm just gonna talk about fringe and how to hook them together, and then we're done. How about that? How's that for breakneck speed? Is anybody having difficulties or has questions? All right. How you guys feeling about this?
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Really like it. I probably should have trimmed this a little bit closer. But see that pin back. They come with these clutch backs. Now the clutch back that I have on here has a little loop. What some people will do is they'll put a little string from that loop to the side here so that you don't lose it, so it doesn't come off and lose it. And it's something that, make sure that it's a long enough string like this. You know, whether or not it's that you can actually open it. If you put it on and just do a really short little one, yeah, you won't lose it, but you won't be able to open it either. So you want to be able to make sure that it comes off. I'm actually just going to go ahead and cut that little loop off. Can you see it there? So you can use that loop to have a little string that attaches it to the piece so that you'll never lose it. Was there a question?
Yeah, Hannah, could you use a brooch pin?
You sure could. You sure could. The
yeah.
only reason, you know, now that you say it, yeah, you absolutely could use a brooch pin for both of them. The only reason that I chose this was because that's what was on the original. I mean, that's really the only reason, is that they had this little stick thing. And so that's the only reason that I chose this over the brooch. So, and by the original, I mean the 1908 Cartier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that, yeah, you absolutely, if you have small brooch backings, absolutely you could use one of those.
And you could almost use an actual brooch and work around that, couldn't you?
You absolutely could. Yes.
You could glue stiff stuff to the back of a brooch, you know, and just work around the pin.
Absolutely. And that would be really fun too. That would, you know, give new life to an older brooch. I mean, you know, once again, these are all buttons that I've used, and I actually got them when last time I went to New York. I went to a button shop called it has buttons and trim, and it's called MJ Trims. It's in the fashion district of New York, and it is out of control. So imagine you walk into this shop, and all of the walls are full to their 13-foot ceilings with like different kinds of the button little drawers, and nothing but trim, you know, how the trim comes on those little bolts of fabric. So nothing but that all the way up to the 13-foot ceilings, except for every wall that isn't covered with shiny trim and shiny buttons has mirrors on it.
Oh.
It was out of control. I just, you know, it's so overwhelming that I went to they have gazillions of buttons. But all I did, I went to the rhinestone button section, which is a whole section. And that was all I went to because I couldn't handle more than that. Like I just couldn't even walk around it. And I went and I bought some stuff. This was probably 10 years ago. I bought stuff from that section. And I was like, I can't even, I gotta go sit down. It was so shiny and so overwhelming and so fabulous. I'm dying to go back. But the good news is they've got a website, which I will drop into the chat for you. Give me just a second. And if someone could then drop it, all these into the Facebook track chat, I would be much appreciative.
I want to
So-
see their website. I want to see what they show.
So anyway, there's a link to my 2 leftover kits. And then let me go ahead and get to the MJ Trims site, and I'll drop that into the chat too. And then if someone would copy that and put that into the Facebook, I would be much appreciative.
Sure, done.
Oh, thank you. Let's see, I think it's mjtrims.com. So let me check. Oh, MJ Trim, singular, as if they only have one trim in the whole store. They have like 8,300,000 and I don't know. There we go. All righty. I'm just going to give you a couple more minutes and then I'm going to talk about fringe and hooking the two together. I would do the same thing with this. I would put the other backing. This one I don't have to build up because I don't have anything coming through. So I could just go ahead and glue this directly down onto that. And put the backing on the same way and edge it same way. So I have the 2 pieces, and once I have the 2 pieces, I can hook them together. And I'll talk about that. I'm not going to do that here. But I will talk about the fringe and hooking them together. And that is the whole project. Those 2 pieces hooked together with some fringe. How you guys feeling about it? Did I overwhelm you guys at all, or are you okay?
You did an excellent job, Hannah. Was very organized and easy to follow. So thank you.
Sure. All right. So let me go back to sharing screen here. So we've edged it. You can see that this one I decided that I wanted to go ahead and make the it look like picot. I actually just left this part. This is optional. I left this part on the bottom empty because I knew I was going to add some fringe. This one I just went ahead and embellished. We talked about that. And here is the fringe. Basic fringe is just some beads with, I usually use a larger bead at the bottom. You okay?
Somebody got their audio not muted and you're yawning?
I know, I can be pretty boring when it comes to fringe. So I've got
Oh
these.
no, I'm just tired.
So I've got these I've got some beads, and I use larger ones at the bottom to go ahead and help to weight it down. And then if I'm not using a drop bead, I'll use a stop bead. So this guy, I've gone ahead and I've used a drop bead instead. Whoops, I don't know what's going on. So let me show you on the next page. Here is a graph of the exact fringe I use. So I use some 15 beads. You'll see those in a minute. Some 11s, some 8s, some 6s. That was supposed to be a 3 or 4 millimeter crystal. I don't know where it went. The crystal Rivoli, crystal drop. I used some 6 millimeter pearls and a 5 or 6 millimeter crystal. And you can see I've gone ahead and added some 11s, and then they start to get bigger as they go down. Bigger and bigger and bigger. So here's the words, if you want to cross them off as you do them. Here's the graph for the actual one. When I get to the bottom, instead of using a stop bead, what I did is this is a size 11. And then on one side of my crystal drop, I've used some size 15s. The drop, some more 15s, and then went all the way back to the top. And because these are crystals and they can be sharp, I do use Fireline for my fringe. Now, Fireline in fringe has pros and cons that I want to talk about for a few minutes. The pro is, of course, that the crystals won't cut it, which it can do for 1G and especially NYMO and other stuff. The con is that unless it's a heavy fringe, then it can get a curve to it. Fortunately, my fringe is always pretty heavy, so I always have a tendency to use the Fireline. So there it is. Here's a picture of what it looks like. Pretty just as it is. And then I just string the two together. It was the first version I did. I didn't like it quite as much. I don't know. There was just too much small beads here, so I didn't like how angular it got. So here was with some larger beads. And with this, what you want is you want a small, a medium, and a long piece so that it drapes nicely.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but I do need to get going. I've got a training class with one of the dogs today, this afternoon, so I gotta get going.
I'm just about done, so your timing is perfect.
All right, well, I will see everyone again.
You take
I don't
care.
have the kit yet, so I wasn't able to bead along, but it is on its way. So
I know. Is this Marlene? I'm not looking. Is this Marlene?
No, it's Amanda.
Oh, Amanda. Amanda.
Yeah.
Did I send you a kit?
According to the email I got from Etsy, you did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I sent them. I'm sent them those the same day I got them, so I was really hoping that they'd get to you in time. I apologize.
It's all good. It happens. Like I said, this is recorded, so I can go back and watch it later.
Right, and hopefully my tutorial is good enough. And that reminds me of one final thing I wanted to say to you before you leave, and that's that you can always find me at Hannah Rosener on Facebook, or my email address I'm going to give to you right now, and maybe you can note it down. It's good, one word, Good River Gallery at AOL.com. So once again, if I show you the original design, you can see that they used just small pearls, and you could do that too. You could use all the same size bead if you wanted it to be more uniform. I decided to use all kinds of different stuff just for a little bit of added interest. But if you wanted it to be more uniform, then it actually goes ahead and it puts the focus more on these two pieces. So if you want the focus to be on these two pieces rather than the whole thing as a whole, then using a uniform, maybe size 11s or smaller pearls. They're not part of your kit, but if you have a whole bunch of smaller pearls, you could use those. So I think I'm done talking. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, apparently you did a bang up job, Hannah.
There you
Nobody has
go.
any questions.
And stop sharing. Oh, that's upside down for you. Let's move it right side up so you can go take a look at it. There you go.
Thank you, Hannah.
You're very welcome.
It's
I
really
hope you
pretty.
guys all enjoy. And once you finish, please send me an email or a Facebook messenger with it, and I'd love to feature it on my Facebook page.
Oh, lovely idea.
Once again, these were mainly French, and they were used a lot in from about Queen Elizabeth's time up through Catherine. I think Catherine de Medici, who was the Queen of France. She wore them an awful lot. They became real popular in Victorian, and then had a resurgence in the early 1900s. So shoulder sashes is what they were called. So thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm on that trimming place, you met MJ Trimming, and they have a set of buttons just like those under clasps, but they look just like those.
Under clasps. Interesting.
I think it's clasp or
I would actually also look under rhinestone buttons if you can find a rhinestone button section. But I got these not online, but I got these at MJ Trimmings. So that's where I actually physically was when I bought all these buttons.
well, it says brilliance on the subject, so yeah.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Why don't we go ahead and close this in terms of the spotlight so we can say hello to and goodbye to everyone.
Okie dokie.
All right. Well, thank you guys all for joining me. Looks like there were a lot more people that came in when I was working. So I was so glad to see all of you guys here.
I counted 14, Hannah, I counted 14 on the Zoom and 5 on the Facebook.
That's great. I'm so
That's
glad.
lovely.
And of course, the Facebook will be available for you to view. After this is done, it will post directly to Facebook so you can watch it anytime. This is not one of the ones that we do for members only. This is for everybody. But if you're not a member and you're watching this, consider joining us. We have a great set of programs, and we have make and takes that we do at the local bead show and all kinds of other fun things. So
Thanks.
now I think
it was great.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great time, and don't forget we have to stop the recording on Facebook first, and then we stop the regular recording.
Okay, so I'm gonna go there now. I stopped the live stream.
Right.
And then I am going to stop our recording. Let's see where that is. Oh, I got that. Okay.
Yeah, it's usually down right hand side where it says more.
Yeah.